This is Valante, and I am so excited to have in the studio with me Sam Cicero Sr. from Cicero's Development Corporation. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Good. Let's talk about Cicero's. How long have you been in business?
Well, I think this white hair gives it away a little bit. This is our 44th year in business,
Wow.
and we've got over quite a few hurdles over the course of time. But it's been quite a nice ride, and our company is growing and doing well.
When you say 44 years in business, what does that feel like? You know, when you look back, how does that feel to be able to say, I've been in business 44 years? I'm not even 44 yet. I'll be 44 in September, but I'm not even 44 years old yet. So how does that feel?
Sometimes very hard to get a handle on it, because some things seem like they happened yesterday, and some things you can hardly remember. It's been a lot of up and downness, a lot of understanding clients needs. I think that's how we've survived all through these years. It encompasses so much, and there's so many people along the way that have reached out and helped. And it's like every other business, I'm sure, that you just learn by making mistakes just as well. My motto is, if you don't do anything, you never make a mistake. So don't be afraid to make the mistake. So and we've made our share of them. We're kind of like Thomas Edison. We know all the different ways you can't invent a light bulb. So we're learning too. So every day's a learning curve.
Wow. So why did you start Cicero's Development? What was your motivation?
I had quit high school in my beginning of my sophomore year. My father owned a gas station. I thought I was going to just work and make my way. I was pretty kind of a headstrong young guy, and thought I could do it on my own. And after I quit school and I was 16 years old, I saw how hard it was. And you can make your own way. You could at that time anyway. It's just a very difficult time. And before you know it, I always say men and boys get overcome by two smells. One is gasoline and one is perfume, and I got them both. So soon I was married. We had 2 children, had a third one on the way, and I was driving a truck for a living, and the Teamsters Union went on strike, and it just changed my whole life. So I had to start looking for another way to make my way and make my living for my family. Went down to the paint store to buy some paint. Got talking to the gentleman that owned the paint store. He was looking to have someone that he knew that can take some of the leads of people coming into his paint store. So I made him a deal. He was going to teach me how to paint, and I was going to work for him doing these little side jobs. And pretty basically, that's the way the company started. We started as a company on September the 8th in 1970. I remember that. So, and ever since then, we've been kind of making our way. So we went from being a painter to a paper hanger to then doing odd jobs, then to doing little contracting work in residential, and moved into doing commercial and residential renovations. We built I think we built a total of 13 buildings from the ground up. And then we got into, about 25 years ago, we got real heavy into doing hospitality, doing renovations for hotels. We figured out that the busier hotels were the ones we wanted to work for, because the busier hotels, they always had things would wear out, things would break down, common sense. And so their biggest obstacle was, how do they keep their hotel open while we were in there doing renovation work? So then all of a sudden, We got into the concept of we can work 24/7 in a hotel business. You just have 3 shifts, and you're staggering guys on different days, and it's a lot of coordination. And we then took that same concept, and now we can do commercial work with that same concept. So people that are running a day-to-day business and want to expand their business, want to redevelop the interior of their existing buildings, we can go ahead and work different shifts, different times, noise times, quiet times, and it works out very well. So the owner can keep their everyday livelihood going, and we can get the job renovated.
So, with the way that your company moved, you've made a lot of adjustments.
A lot of adjustments.
Was it a plan, or did it just kind of evolve into whatever direction the industry went in?
Well, I'd like to tell you it was a great plan, but it really wasn't. It was as my life moved, I had to move with what I saw the customer need. And that's no different nowadays. I think the only way anybody can stay in business nowadays is to go with the needs of the customer.
Right.
And every day we find more and more of that now. And here recently in the last 2 years, we've gotten into what are the other added value benefits that Cicero Development can bring to the table for our clients. It's not how fast we can work or how much work we can do. What can we do to benefit the client? Because every client we have is always looking for the return on investment.
Right.
If I'm going to spend $3 million or $1 million or $200,000, what is my return on that investment? So we really dig into more about how we can help them make a better profit. And one of the ways we found recently is we work with our tax analyst. And I know very little about taxes, so I don't want people to ask me about taxes, but we work with tax people that can come in and evaluate the operation, everything that comes out of a building, whether it be a hotel or a commercial project, has a value to it.
Right.
And they can get a tax benefit by putting a value on everything that comes out of a project. We sit down with our tax analyst. We will give them the demolition plans on a job, and they can go in and calculate how much drywall comes out, how much studs come out of there. What about the carpeting? What kind of value does every piece of this have? For instance, I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing electrical outlets. How much conduit in electrical outlets come out? And then another interesting thing that I found out in working with them is the items going into a project can all be rated differently. Most of the projects of people that I've worked with, they write off their the taxes, the tax ramifications over 39 years. And I'm finding out there's different things you can do, different ways you can build things so that they can get a quicker tax write-off. Mm-hmm. Now that has nothing to do in one way about construction, but it has everything to do with how we can help our clients, so we put them in the right direction. We have them talk to our tax analysis people, how they can, if they can save them money. If they can't, they don't charge them anything. I mean, it's not a matter of, well, you got to pay to have this service. No, we don't. This is an added value item that we do at Cicero Development. Because if we can make our clients happy and make them money, they'll call us again or they'll recommend us. And that's how we get our recommendation.
You talk a lot about your company being client-driven, what the client wants, the client needs. What sets Cicero's apart? Why do we want to work with you? Why is that client coming back or choosing to work with you?
To me, the client is the one that's paying the bills. I mean, he's paying for us. So anything we can do to work with the client and be more beneficial to the client is how we're gonna keep working, and we preach that to our employees all the time. If we can go out of our way to help a client, and even if it's not job related, if it's something they need, we've been in buildings where a sprinkler head went off. How do we help them clean it up real quick? It's not our job, but it had nothing to do with us. It had to do with a malfunction in the system somewhere. If there's anything we can do to help our clients to reap the reward, we should be out there doing it. And I always think those things never get lost in the shuffle. I don't know what else I could tell you about that.
Okay. Good. I mean, because you say client, 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 and that's something I think that is what sells you. That genuine concern for the client, the quality, making sure you do the best job possible, and even in the industry. Let's talk about surviving all of these years. You've gone through. I mean, we just recently had a housing slump, an economic slump, but there was also a bunch of them since you started. So when you see these downturns come, how do you position yourself as a company to survive them and even to come out on top? You seem to be reinventing and going up, doing different things, branching out. How are you growing in spite of everything that's going on up and down in the economic climate?
Well, one of the big things that we look at is we really believe in training. Training to us is important. Training is not just meaning training in the construction business, it's training in the people business. Mm-hmm. Training in how to get along good with people. What can we do to make our employees feel good about themselves? That's number one. Then how can we empower them to go out and do what we want them to do? Because no two people are ever going to do it like I would do it or someone else would do it. So you have to be a little more willing to work with them to overcome the hurdles, because most of the people that have jobs in this world they seem to just function on being told what to do. Right. This is what you do, this is how you do it. Right. You need to do that to a certain degree, but then there's a certain part of that okay, it's like pushing the little bird out of the nest. Okay, now we've taught you what we know, go out and do it. And be willing to accept when mistakes happen. And be willing to own up to the mistakes. Because we go out, I get this all the time. Clients will ask me, well, how long is your work guaranteed for? I say, well, theoretically it's 1 year in writing, but if you have a problem 5 years from now, I want you to call me and tell me about it, because there's a lot of reasons. One is it some inferior product that we use that we didn't know about? Is it maybe an improper installation of something that we didn't know about? And is it just a combination of things that maybe we need to work together to get it resolved? 5 years from now, you have a problem, you need to get it fixed by somebody.
Right.
So can we work with you to help get the problem resolved and get you back functioning again? To me, that's always a real concern of mine. I want somebody to be there and stand there when things go wrong. Are you going to be available? Are you going to be around?
Right.
And that's the key thing.
Right. Now, I've been in your office and I've met your staff, and you hit on something very key. There is a sense of ownership. And for me, even as a consumer, anywhere, I look at that. If I walk into an establishment and the employees seem disgruntled, or they're bickering, or they're angry at their boss, it kind of makes me think twice, and I probably won't come back. I'm very service oriented, and I'm very aware of how I'm treating in the environment. And even if I get quality products or services, if I don't like the environment, I just won't go back.
Yeah.
And I told you before we went on air that I call Cicero's the construction gentleman, because there's a lot of men there, but all of the men in the office are very polite, they're cordial, they're gentlemen, they treat each other like gentlemen, they treat ladies like gentlemen. So how do you maintain that level of ownership? They don't act like, I'm here at this job, I can't wait till time to go home. You see that. So how do you keep that out of your company?
When we go through the hiring process in the beginning, and it didn't matter if we did it 40 years ago or if we're doing it today. Attitude is the number one thing we're looking for. I'm not looking for the guy that's had 20 years experience and he's done this and shows me brings his big book of what he accomplished. I think that's good. But the big key to me is attitude. If someone's attitude is good, I think you can do anything with them. If their attitude is they want to be part of something good, fine, come with us. Let's work together. Everybody has something good they bring, and they also have some baggage. If we as a company can overcome the baggage, and you're bringing something good, and we can work together and grow, I think we both got a good thing going. And over the years, we've got people that have been with our company 25, 26 years. And in this day and age, when people will just leave for 50 cents more somewhere else, it's amazing. This latest downturn for us it was a very heavy hit because I know we went from 35 full-time employees because we used to train our own apprentices in carpentry and in painting and wall covering. And we had a 4-year apprenticeship training program for them. Because when we would go out to a job, because we work all over the United States, so when we would go to a job, we would bring our people with us. Well, when this downturn happened, we had to change our complete way of thinking because number one, nobody could afford having anything done. So we had jobs that had to stop right in the middle of things. Unfortunately, I had to lay a lot of people off, and it was very difficult because a lot of these people, they came with us before they got married. They had children. We used to go on picnics together with their families and their children. So having to lay people like that off is very difficult. Our thinking had to come back with, if we're going to stay in business, we could not do things the way we used to do them. We would have to change our thinking. And now the thinking was, the owners that are out there of any kind of buildings or businesses had less money to spend. They wanted to make sure they're getting the best value for the dollar. That's always been that way. How do we do that? What do we do differently? Well, we took a different tact. We would say, okay, we will take our key people to a project. We had our systems, so we take our systems to the project with our key people. We would hire locally. We would hire a local plumber, a local electrician, a local HVAC person, because our thinking was those key elements would have to stay with the building. After we left, after our project was done, something would go wrong. The owner would have the name and the telephone numbers of all these key people that he could call them directly because they're within driving distance.
Oh, okay.
So now the owner wasn't paying for us to bring all of our people that were well trained. Then we went to to thinking that we wanted to do something to help the local communities, to the veterans. We would try every chance we could in each community that we were at to get a hold of the local Veterans Administration. And we would hire local carpenters, painters, and laborers. We would try to get out of work qualified veterans that were looking for work and at least employ them for our projects and try to give them the opportunity. We train them. We would do safety training. Safety is really big in our company. So we do a lot of safety training of veterans because we believe in giving back. The other thing we did is I had to look when we got into the hotel stuff. We would get 200 rooms of furniture that would be coming out. And when you do a hotel and let's say it's a 12-story hotel and you'd start on the 12th floor, there might be 30 rooms on the 12th floor. So you have a matter of less than a day to get 30 rooms of furniture out. What do you do with that? Well, we used to align ourselves with a lot of people who would reclaim furniture. And they might give us $100 for a room full of furniture coming out, old furniture. So then we started looking to see if we could market. We wanted to contact quality local organizations that were non-government funded, and we would donate the furniture to them. If they had a resale shop, we would donate the furniture. Now, most resale shops can't take 200 rooms of furniture. So we would show them, if you contacted these other 3 or 4 or 5 shops, maybe you guys could get together. We taught them how to rent trucks from Hertz, how to bring trucks out to the site, how they would train their people to load the trucks, bring the trucks back. We even showed them how to refurbish some of the furniture, because it's not that the furniture was garbage, it was just old and outdated furniture. So in a sense, we tried to give back to the local people in a community, if we could, as much as we could. And here's what it did. Number one, it helped the owner because we didn't have to have people come and stay somewhere, whether they stayed in their hotel or not. They didn't have to pay for that. They didn't have to pay for the food. They didn't have to pay for travel. We had local people. They had the benefit of using local people, so they got a good reputation, because again, when the project is done and we leave, we were great, but we were gone. They're there. They have the entity that's there. And I think that did a lot for the various companies that we worked for in those areas. One of the things that has kind of been the downside for us is because we're not a big company, so we don't do a lot of projects. People don't know about us. And even though we're from the Plainfield, Illinois area, which is right outside of Chicago, we work all over the U.S. We would like to be better known in the city of Chicago. So we work around the Chicago and the suburban area. There's a lot of work out here, and we'd like to be part of it. So hopefully there might be a few people listening that can say, hey, we'd like to give these guys a shot, or we're not looking for the business, we're looking for the opportunity to bid on the work. And that's what we're hoping for.
And it's just a matter of them knowing. And you have the quality, you have the expertise behind you, and you even have, you may not even realize that you have a army of people to market for you in that community of people that you're talking about. All of those builders who've connected with you, if we can just get them to share the word as well, it'll just mushroom into this huge marketing campaign, because word of mouth is the best way to advertise. And to that point, I'm listening to you, and you literally just rattle off all of these details as if it's nothing. You just have all this data and information where you're a construction industry authority, I would say. Going back, at what point do you think you were validated? And the way that question is coming from, as an entrepreneur myself, it was a while before I would call myself a CEO. I didn't feel like I was qualified to be a company owner. I was like, well, yeah, I do this, I freelance, but I never felt like I was a company owner. So when did you feel like, yes, I am the founder of this company? When did that validation come for you, and how?
Good question. I know right as we were coming out of this last downturn, I had made up my mind that I could see our company, as far as surviving, a lot of things I did on myself. I did my way, and I could now see the new wave of the social media that I didn't know much about. A lot of the computer-driven parts that I wasn't really keen on, that if this company was really going to survive, I needed to have people step up in our company that could take it to the next level. That's when it was about 2 years ago, I decided, my son had been with me for probably 35 years, and he'd always been the one bringing things up. I stepped down as the president of the company. My son, Sam Jr., is now the president of the company. My job in the company now is to work on marketing, talking to people, going to shows, going to projects, and seeing different. We put a lot of systems together over the years,
Yeah.
and I think we're a very system-oriented company. I had a chance at that point to step back and look and see what we had put together. Because when you're in the day-to-day stuff, as you probably know, you don't get a chance to stop and
appreciate it.
appreciate it, stop and look around and think about it. But now that I could step back and I could see what we've done and what we still can do, it's not like you're there, but what more you can do, it's like, wow, the whole world's opened up. And I'm 72 now. So when I was 70 is when I got, I don't know, time to take another look. I didn't want to retire. I don't want to quit, but I wanted to be able to take a different look and take what I could do for the company and bring it to the next level and let everybody else that knows the new ideas, have them come into the company. We had a lovely lady by the name of Zara Johnson that was with us for over 25 years. We've advanced her to become the business development director. And I think that's a position that we've never had. We're excited about it. We want to see what she can do with it. And she's just this bubbly, full of energy person that's ready to go. And we're excited about that. So we want to see this thing take off even more. And I think people that have been with us a while understand that because they came up slowly through this and they could see how hard we all worked at it. And I think most people that have been in a job very long have really had to put something to it. But this day and age, I think everybody needs to feel like they're appreciated. And I think key for all employees and clients. I mean, we couldn't do it without clients either. So, but the employees are real key to us. They're really good for us. I don't know if I really answered your question right.
You did. I was kind of surprised though that you said as recently as 2 years ago, but you know, and then I'm not because my next question is how does that feel? Because you're such an humble guy. It's like you've done all this, you've helped all these people, you've worked with all these people, and it's like, oh yeah, well, you don't put yourself here. You know, it's kind of like, I'm this guy, I did this, anybody can do this. So you did answer my question, but I was a little bit surprised. I would think at maybe 10 years ago, you decided, well, yeah, I got this. But that's not how you came across.
No, it's always, you always got to think back to where you came from.
Yeah.
And life has that funny way of doing it to you. Every once in a while when you get up on that pedestal, somebody will kick that pedestal out on you and at least make it waver a little bit, and you'll think twice about it. And certainly with not having the background of a college education and even a high school education, you had to depend on what you could come up with yourself. So that's what had to take the time for me. And so I've had to reflect a lot of times in my life about where I'm at and what I'm doing and how things are going. Because, you know, as it does for all of us, none of it goes smooth. Everything has its humps. But I'm really excited for the company, and I'm really appreciated the opportunity of talking to you on the show. And hopefully there might be people out there that think, hey, let's give them a call. Let's see what they can do.
Definitely, we got to make that happen. I'm so glad you're here. I just love you sharing the information.
Well, thank you.
I learned, I'm sure they learned, and there's people out there that need your services.
Well, thank you. Thank you
so much, Sam.
Thank you.
Okay,
Great.